Book 11. I got so into the series and so carried away that I ordered the book and it got here and I read it. I dragged it out. I took read a few chapters each day, dragged it out to 3 days because I enjoyed the book. I enjoy the series. I've gotten to know the characters. And welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, Kristina. This is where I read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy smancy stuff going on here. And so I've gotten to know my core cast of characters, and I know who my external characters are now. Addie owns the bookstore in town, and we were doing the doctor, cop there for a while. And then, because of what she said to the Mark, he dumped her because it took her a really long time to get over her deceased fiance. And when she dumped Mark, she got involved with Simon, the doctor, the coroner, the new head doctor at the hospital. And she was on her way to marry him. In fact, they had done the church bit and everything when this woman barged in and said, "Ups, we're still married. Our divorce annulment 16 years ago was never finalized." And he never told Addie that he had been married or divorced or anything. So that was a huge, huge secret the doctor kept from her. So in the midst of all that, she got this hair. She flew to England because towards the end of the last couple books, this author that turned up from her high school, her first real crush back in high school, her high school love showed up, and it turns out he was a real famous author, and he was living in England, and he had this big estate, and he invited her out to this big estate. So she ran away from home to get away from Simon and Mark to recuperate. And she was supposed to be gone 2 weeks, and she ended up living there over a year. And she developed relationships with the people there and friendships with the people there. And she met this cop, Noah. And at the end, she had to come back to her bookstore because Paige needed her. Paige is getting married, and Paige was managing the bookstore, and she had Serena's cousin Nikki come in and help with the bookshop, and all her friends were there, and she had to face Simon at one point. And the miracle is we don't see Simon in this book at all. No Simon at all. There is quite a bit of Mark. You don't meet the wife, but you get a lot of Mark. And you get some of Jerry, his assistant. But it's a lot of Nikki, Paige, Serena. Even Serena's kind of absent. She's not there as much as used to. She's got the kids. And this is a huge, huge, huge turning point in the series. So now we've got to wait a year to see what happens. That's the one thing about binging a short series, is that you get attached to the characters and then it just ends, and then you have to wait a year. At least, there is another book coming next year. Fingers crossed. But so this comes to an end here, and so she's back home, and she's missing Noah greatly. They had just met. They hadn't really formed too much of a relationship yet, but she was started developing feelings for him, and she started going to I wonder what Noah's doing right now. I wonder. And she was kind of missing him a little bit, and she was missing England. But Nikki came from an abusive relationship, and she was Serena's cousin, and she's been working out in the bookstore, and she's been doing a fantastic job, and she's also been staying in the loft apartment garage that Addie has, because Addie has this big huge house. And she came from this abusive relationship, and her ex-husband was in town. She didn't know that, but he'd been in town over a week, and he did not know that she was in this town. It was just by coincidence that he found out. and he was dealing with some other people. He had some other business dealings. And these people that had the business dealings with him accidentally let it slip that Nikki was there in this town. And that led to some confrontations, and that led to Chad being murdered. At the same time, Addie does some things that she knows is not right, but she has some packages to deliver to the Lighthouse Museum for their Christmas auction. It's going to be a big, huge fundraiser, and one of those things was a really unique, rare book. Yes, ma'am. Come here. You want to come here? Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. You came over here and sat here and looked at me. So, when the book was delivered, Noah showed up with the book in hand, and she's like, "Oh," and she doesn't offer for him to stay at her place, her big, huge mansion. No, he goes to the bed and breakfast, and he gets some leads on the case there, and he also gets to know Mark and becomes we're helping Mark with the case because Mark is a relative of Nikki's, and he can't really, I forget what it's called, but he can't help on the case because there's a conflict of interest because he's a family member. So Noah starts helping out on the case. In the meantime, like I said, he brought the book, and she took all the charity items over to the museum, and she runs into this guy dressed as an elf, and she just assumed, she made a whole bunch of assumptions when she went there. She assumed that he was part of the staff there. She assumed he was working there. She assumed he had the right to be there, and she gives him all the stuff. And then one thing leads to another, and it turns out the real security guard was knocked out and hurt and injured and tied up. And this fake security guard took all the stuff and ran. So we have these two cases of the missing charity items, and we have the murder. And the cops are consistently dealing with these two separate cases. The murder, the missing items. Murder, missing items. But Addie is the whole time going, they're connected. They have to be connected. They have to go together. And the cops don't see it that way. And the number one suspect is Nikki in the murder. She had to have done it. She had motive. She was his ex-wife. She was sprayed. Maybe she did self-defense. Who knows what's going on there. Later on, it's revealed that she is in his sole heir. She was supposed to be written out of stuff when the divorce was finalized, but there were some other things that were not finalized that were still open. So she's in line to inherit millions from this guy, and so she's like, that is major, huge motive for her killing him. So the whole time it's Nikki. Meanwhile, Addie goes to the museum, and there's got to be something here at the museum. And the head lady at the museum, Deanna, I am like, this woman is hiding something. She's lying. I am thinking it's her the whole book. I'm like, she's hiding something. She knows something about security guard. She keeps talking about board meetings. There's no one else there. How can you be holding a board meeting if there's no one else there? There should be 10 or 12 people there. Who's on the museum board? How come no one's questioning the other board members? Because the first time she said she came downstairs to get coffee, and then the second time she said she came downstairs to get documents, and then they're like, but you said you left the documents in your coat. Where's your coat? You didn't have your coat on. There was no pockets, and then this coat you're wearing today has no pockets in it. What's your story there? And I'm like, this woman, and then this guy she was with, this Peter, I'm like, there's something crooked about him too. I'm suspecting there's something evil going on with Peter, and he's supposed to be Nikki's lawyer. And I'm like, the fact that he's with Deanna at the museum and he's Nikki, there's just huge conflicts of interest there. Huge, like, bells and whistles going off. There's got to be something going on there. Has to be. And poor Addie and Paige and Serena are stressing over Nikki, because the more the police investigate, the more evidence they get on Nikki, and they arrest Nikki, and she comes out on bail. And then they hear about the will, and they're like, she's going to get locked up, and she's not going to be let out till the trial. And they're just about ready to close that case. And then a light bulb clicks in Addie's head. and stuff happens. And there's also life-changing stuff in here for Nikki. Not Nikki, Addie. Well, Nikki too. She's inheriting all this money, so I don't know what's going to happen with her. But Addie's got some choices to make now. Noah has declared that he has feelings for her. He has also come clean about his past to her. He divulges all the information there. So I'm sure at some point we're going to want to solve his wife's... well, actually it was solved, but the police messed it up. So he's estranged from his in-laws, and there's a whole situation. I won't spoil all of that. So there's a whole situation there with Noah. So now the decision becomes, does she stay here with him? Or does she go to England with him and back to his job as a police officer there? And the rest of his family's in England. Does she stay or does she go? And that's kind of where you'll have to read the book to, because I'm not sure if anything's set in cement yet, but you'll have to read the book to find out. Does Addie stay here? Do we go back to England with those cast of characters? Do we forget this community here? Or does she stay here? Did they build a life here? Does he leave everything there? What's going on with them? It's a big, huge... This is a life-altering book for Addie. And we will have to wait till next year to find out what happens. That's what happens when you get involved in a series and start caring about characters. So, wait a second. So, you know what happens when you read an author and you're 10 books in, well, actually 11 now, because this is 11, and you enjoyed the author so much, you run out and find another series by the author. So look for these in the next week or so. And, Merry Christmas! Epilogue to Christmas, Book 11. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Have a good one.